This is my tutorial on how to make this lovely cute little headband that I've been making on my lives and some of my videos lately that you all have been asking for a tutorial for. For a standard worsted weight yarn, I am going to use a 6mm crochet hook. You will need 1 stitch marker and a pair of scissors. You actually won't need a darning needle for this pattern because you don't have to weave in any ends. To start off, we're just going to do a slip knot on our hook. And you actually do not need a long tail at all. It needs to just be short because you're just going to cut it off when you're done anyway. And we're going to start with a chain of 40. After we chain 40, we're going to put our stitch marker in the first loop away from the hook to mark where we're going to stop after the next section. Now for the body part, or like the midsection, you're going to need to chain an even number, but it needs to be in between 15 and 17 inches long, depending on how much stretch your yarn has. Mine is a little bit bigger and it does have a lot of stretch, so I'm going to do it to where it's about 15 inches, maybe even 16, but I will come back after I measure and tell you how many chains I did for the body. Stitch wrap here is 18 inches long total, and I forgot to mention that whenever you're measuring, make sure you measure it when it's stretched. So you're going to measure from your stitch marker. So I'm going to put that at the end of my measuring tool and stretch out, and where my hook is, make sure it lands between 15 and 17 inches, which mine does. It reaches almost 15 1/4 inch. So this is perfect. Here we are going to start. I am doing a mini bean stitch. If you don't want to do a mini bean stitch for your body of your headband, you can literally do whatever stitch pattern you want to choose, whatever you want, but I'm going to go with the mini bean stitch. So we're going to start in the second loop from your hook, and you're going to insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, insert in the same loop, pull up a loop, yarn over, go through 4 loops on your hook, chain 1 to close, skip a stitch, and then do that again. And we're going to do this over and over until we get to our stitch marker, which marks where the first tie ends. Almost to my stitch marker now, and I thought that I should tell you, don't worry if it starts to curl. It's not going to be curly by the time you're all done with all the rows. And also, don't forget to skip a loop in between each mini bean stitch. Otherwise, you'll have way too many stitches and it will not match up right. So now we're going to skip. This is our last mini bean and the last chain before our stitch marker. Chain to close. And then we're going to chain 1. So it's going to look like 2 chain. Turn your work. So again, this is where we went from right to left. Chain to close, chain 1, turn the work. And now we're not going to go into this spot right here. We're going to start the next row with a mini bean in between these 2 mini beans right here. So we're just going to pull up a loop, yarn over, pull up another loop, yarn over, go through 4 loops on the hook, chain, and then we're going to go in between the next 2 and do another mini bean. And we're just going to keep doing that until we get almost to the end, and then I'll come back and show you what we do. Okay, so unlike how we did a decrease at the beginning of this row, we are not doing a decrease on the end. We are going to work in between the last 2 mini beans, and we're going to do 1 there, and then we're going to chain 1 to close, chain another 1, and then we're going to shift our work to where it's now upside down, but with the same side facing us. And we're going to put a mini bean right here in between these 2 mini beans, like so. And this is going to give it that rounded edge. And now we're going to do 1 in the next one. And keep repeating that between the mini beans until we get back down here to the other end, and I will show you what we do next. Also, I'm really sorry if you didn't keep watching or if you paused before this part, but I meant to tell you too that we are doing these mini beans essentially around the foundation chain that we started with. So we're not working in between any of the loops or in between stitches or anything like that. We are just working the mini beans around the initial foundation chain that we started off with. Okay, I just finished the last one in between the last two bean stitches. There's a little space right here where our stitch marker is above, and we're going to chain 1, go into that spot right below the stitch marker and slip stitch, and then we're going to chain 2, turn our work, and we're not working into this first spot. We're going to start in between the first and the second bean stitch of this new row. And we're still doing the mini bean, chain to close, and we're going to work this all the way to the other end, and then we are going to make the other tying chain. Also, you can go ahead and remove your stitch marker whenever you'd want. It's not needed anymore. And then I will come back when we're ready to do the next chain. I just did my last bean stitch of that row in between the last two of the previous row, and I chained to close, and now I'm just going to slip stitch right here in the top. You're trying to get it to be in the same area as the other chain, so you just want it to be kind of in that corner right there. Yes, I have dogs. Yes, they bark at everything, so there's just no avoiding. I'm not going to keep recording this video. Now we are going to do the same number chain for this chain tie as we did for the other one, which on this one I did 40, so I'm going to chain 40 now to finish off. All right, chained 40, and again, we do not need a long tail. Just make it short because we're going to cut it anyway. Pull your loop through, pull it tight. Do the same thing on the other end. Just make sure it's pulled nice and tight. Cut it, and here you could either use a lighter or heat tool to melt the knot, or you can leave it be. I do like to melt it because it seems to just work out a little bit better and make sure it doesn't fray, especially on acrylic yarn. You don't want to do that on cotton yarn though, because it'll just burn. And we have our headband, and now let's see what it looks like on. This one matches my shirt today, so that's cool. I do like to make sure that where they come from the corners, that is closest to your face, and the more rounded edge goes towards the back. So like this. You do want to stretch it out a little bit, tuck it behind your ears, and then just tie it in a bow, and you're good to go. And if you're like me, you will constantly tie your little baby hairs in it, and that's okay. As long as you don't pull too hard, it won't hurt. And there we go, all done. I hope that you enjoyed this tutorial and it made sense to you. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out any way that you'd like to, either DM or a comment, or you can email me. And all of my links are available in the highlight on the top of my page and my link tree. Have a wonderful day.